My name is Daniel Reeves. I'm 36 years old. In my family, everyone had a title. My older brother Ethan was the athlete. My younger sister Lila was the gifted one. And me, I was the mistake. Not secretly, not whispered behind closed doors, said openly, casually, like everyone had agreed on it years before I was old enough to understand what it meant. I was 7 the first time I heard it clearly. It was the 4th of July at my uncle's house in Ohio. The backyard was packed with folding chairs, paper plates, and coolers full of beer, sweating in the summer heat. Kids were running through sprinklers while the adults stayed under the shade tent pretending they were too mature to join us. My mother handed me a tray of hamburger buns and told me to carry them to the grill. I tripped halfway there. The tray hit the grass. Buns rolled everywhere. Conversation stopped for a second. Then my mother sighed loudly and said, "Well, that's Daniel, always messing things up. He wasn't exactly planned anyway." Everyone laughed. Not cruel laughter, worse, comfortable laughter. The kind people use when they think something is simply true. I laughed too because I didn't know what else to do. That was the beginning. After that, the label followed me everywhere. When Ethan forgot his homework, he was too focused on football. When I forgot mine, I was careless. When Lila cried, she was sensitive. When I cried, I was dramatic. Everything got filtered through whatever role the family had assigned you years earlier. And once they decide who you are, they stop looking for evidence that they might be wrong. By middle school, Ethan had become a local sports star. His trophies lined the fireplace mantle. My mother polished them every Sunday morning like they were family heirlooms. Lila was winning art contests by 13. My mom framed every sketch she made. The hallway walls were filled with Ethan's medals and Lila's paintings. There was nothing from me, not because I never achieved anything, because no one noticed when I did. At 14, I won first place in a statewide math competition. I remember coming home holding the certificate so tightly the edges bent in my hands. My mother barely glanced at it. "That's nice," she said, while clipping coupons at the kitchen table. Then she looked toward the living room where Ethan was watching sports highlights. "Your brother's game starts in an hour. We need to leave soon." The certificate stayed in my backpack for 3 weeks before I finally threw it away. That's the strange thing about neglect. At first, you fight it. Then eventually, you start helping people ignore you. You speak less, need less, expect less. By 16, I had mastered invisibility. I ate dinner quietly, kept my grades high, stayed out of everyone's way. Teachers loved me because I never caused problems. My family overlooked me for the exact same reason. The only person who occasionally noticed was my dad. But my father existed in our house like background furniture. Quiet, tired, permanently worn down. He worked maintenance at a manufacturing plant for 30 years. Long shifts, steel-toed boots, chronic back pain. When he came home, he mostly sat in silence watching old Western movies with the volume low. Still, every now and then he'd say something small that stuck with me. One night when I was 17, he found me sitting at the kitchen table working through a stack of logistics puzzles from a library book. I liked systems, patterns, efficiency. I liked figuring out how things fit together. He watched quietly for a minute before asking, "You enjoy that stuff?" I shrugged. "Yeah, I guess." He nodded slowly. "You're good at seeing what other people miss." That was it. No dramatic speech. But no one in my family had ever said something positive about me before. I thought about that sentence for weeks. 2 months later, Ethan got a full football scholarship to a state university. My mother cried at the signing ceremony. Lila got accepted into an elite summer arts academy. My mother threw her a party. Meanwhile, I graduated high school with near perfect grades. At dinner that night, my mom looked at me and asked, "So, what's your plan?" Not excited, not curious. More like someone asking when a broken appliance would finally be removed from the garage. I told her I'd been accepted into a business program in Chicago. She blinked. "Chicago's expensive. I got financial aid." "Well," she said, "just don't expect us to help much." And that was the end of the conversation. 3 weeks later, I packed my clothes into 2 duffel bags and left home on a Greyhound bus. Nobody cried. Nobody hugged me tightly. Lila waved from the porch without looking up from her phone. My mother reminded me to call when I arrived. My dad drove me to the station. The ride was mostly silent except for the sound of old country music playing softly through the speakers. When we pulled up, he helped me load my bags onto the sidewalk. Then he reached into his wallet and handed me folded cash, $200. I tried to refuse it because I knew he didn't really have it to spare. He closed my hand around the money. "Take it," he said quietly. Then, after a long pause, he added, "Don't let this family decide who you are." I stared at him because no one had ever acknowledged it out loud before, not once. He looked away toward the buses. I should have said that sooner. That sentence stayed with me for years. The bus ride to Chicago took 9 hours. I spent most of it staring out the window wondering what kind of person I might become if nobody already thought they knew me. For the first time in my life, I was somewhere no one had assigned me a role. No labels, no expectations, no history, just a cheap apartment above a laundromat, a part-time job washing dishes at a diner, and a terrifying amount of freedom. And slowly, without anyone noticing, I started becoming someone else, someone my family would never see coming.